Saffron Walden in the UK. So what we've seen is the president try to make these statements that things are back to normal, that the crisis is over, troops are leaving. But given all that has happened over the last week, it's very difficult to call this a state of normalcy.
That's certainly correct. It is much to his advantage, however, that CSTO troops are pulling out after such a short time. Nonetheless, he still is in debt to President Putin for having saved his position of power. But you're absolutely right. Unless President Tokayev undertakes much more serious reforms, there will be protests in future. What he's promised is a redistribution of wealth. In other words, for the wealthiest corporations to level out profits amongst the population at large, in addition to other measures. We'll see if this takes place.
I found it very interesting how quickly Russian troops moved in. By one estimate, the Kazakh army is about at least 4,000 troops strong. Why so quickly did foreign troops come in there? Is it very likely that Russia wanted to assert itself here?
Here, one has to say that the primary initiative was actually not Russia, although Russia was very keen to agree. Um, President Tokayev was very unlikely unable to trust his own troops. One must bear in mind that there are really two conflicts playing themselves out here. One is between the population and the government of Kazakhstan, and the other is between elites. And in this case, it is highly likely that the violent part of the unrest, which they were peaceful protests, if you recall, and these were hijacked by violent unrest, was perhaps orchestrated by the supporters of former President Nazarbayev, in which case Tokayev would have had no choice but to call in CSTO troops.
You know, when Tokayev blames his predecessor for some of this, when he describes the protests as being part of some kind of coup, is it believable?
It is believable because there are simply too many odd coincidental factors that took place. First of all, it really needs to be noted again that former President Nazarbayev was wielding power behind the scenes. It was a rather schizophrenic situation. The population didn't really know who was making decisions, but mainly the extended Nazarbayev family had monopolized control of the economy from roads to banking to energy and redistributed this wealth amongst a very small number of elites. And with the aging of Nazarbayev, his supporters, those who received the rents from this wealth, were afraid of losing their privileged positions. And so it is believable, particularly if you take into account the fact that all of the chaos really took place, by and large, in Almaty, that there were no governmental troops that were defending very important administrative buildings, and even that the airport was seized.
Excellent background to a very complex situation. Annette Bohr, so good to have you.
Thank you.